new director too, so we just took that 5,500 out.
Okay. And that puts you in the black then?
Yeah.
Good, yep. And then the last page of your ambulance on page 4 is I took that motor vehicle, the 130 out of general, and put it into the ambulance fund. And that would leave like $20,000 left in that ambulance fund, if that's suitable for the board. Is that right?
That's better. Off the subject, I think I can ask this. How many people have signed up for the?
You have 11 people signed up for that
You're doing
EMR
that
fund,
in your team?
and that's $1,700 apiece.
I mean,
It was a little over $20,000 if they all pass. So on Thursday, I will meet with them over in Cheaton and explain to them if they don't feel like they can pass or they have failed the first couple of quizzes, that they probably need to reevaluate because you have a very short time period in order to quit. Because if you don't, that class is going to get charged to us. And that class will be charged to them if they quit.
I know we're talking budget, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway. Would it be of interest to ask the fire departments if they could, I think Malvern Fire Department would be interested in helping pay
Oh, okay,
for a couple
okay,
of students. And I'm sure if you asked them cheating,
yes, yeah.
they maybe would be interested. Maybe not. I shouldn't be speaking for them,
Yeah.
but I think Malvern would be interested in
Mhm.
helping pick up, and I know Bruce Raveling said he'd maybe
Yeah.
help pick up a couple too.
But you don't
Can we
really-
do that? I mean,
Yeah, no, I definitely would be interested in anybody that's willing to support one.
we talked about it one night, and I think Malvern would be interested
Sure,
in
yeah.
helping pay for a couple.
Mhm. Yeah, it's all
Okay.
for their town, so I would hope that they would. It just, they realize that if they quit or they walk out,
It still costs.
it's still gonna cost you. And that's a lot of money, and I think that the people, the person that's taking that course needs to know, and they will, within a week, they'll know whether or not that this is something that they can do or they can pass, And so I'm hoping it's a good incentive. I know that Cheaton's got quite a few people that are signed up to
I
go.
think 2 from
And then
Malvern.
and then they have 2 RNs that are gonna take the EMT to RN class. So that'll be nice over there.
So do we have enough in the budget then to cover those? So
But we'll just have to figure
do a
that out.
budget amendment this year, right?
Yeah,
Or would it be next year's?
it will be this year.
I mean,
Because the class will be done on March 8th.
okay.
And then we'll be billed for it by April or May. There is still I still have some money in the Region 3 grant that I won't use that for classes for the ones that are passing. So, yeah,
Okay.
we'll make it work. And then now that I know that maybe possibly like Melvin and Cheaton money, all he can do is ask. I mean, and I've
Well, I know
heard.
we've talked about it.
Yeah.
So we haven't voted on it, but I know
And
we've
I've
talked
heard,
about it.
I've heard the word no before, so
Yeah.
I'm not immune to it. So don't make me cry, but-
Well, I think, didn't Bruce Raveling himself pick up one a couple times?
Yeah, and actually, yes, they have been very supportive
Yeah.
of, yeah. And I talked to Roger too last night, and he said that the ambulance team could probably help out
Oh, yeah,
too.
yep.
So I'm feeling pretty good that maybe I won't have to amend the budget or anything. It'll be fun.
I don't have anything else. Makes sense to
I don't
me.
have, okay.
Thank you, Sandy. That's-
Yeah.
Well, unless somebody else, but
Is it
thank you for
on page
coming
one?
on.
You want me to sign that?
Do we have that report from the emergency board, that advisory board?
It's right there.
That's what you're submitting as the report, okay? Thank you.
Is there one of them in here or not?
You got that last week, I think, but I can make you a copy of it if you don't have
I've
it.
seen that, yep.
All right, you ready?
The only other question I had is the county attorney's position. Have you thought any more about increasing that for next fiscal year or anything, or just wait and see, or?
Well, I was just sitting here thinking if she's making 48, and if there's dispatchers are starting at 44, that's not a big difference.
You're talking about the attorney though, okay?
I was talking about the attorney position, I didn't know, but I mean, I don't, either or, I just, you know,
I
to
think
get,
we've got to raise that.
to get a better know for the general basic fund, I didn't know what you guys wanted for next year's salary, or, I know you haven't voted on it yet, but, and we have a little bit of time yet, but I'm just trying to,
I'd like to see that in the 130s someplace.
I have, you know, we got a week out for applicants, so. I thought I had one. But then he thought it was Osceola, Iowa, not Osceola County. So he withdrew his application.
At least you didn't think it was Osceola County, Florida.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He's thorough, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he looked, you know, I was like, oh, looked kind of promising, but then he withdrew it because he thought it was Clark County instead of Osceola, so.
Did anybody respond to what you'd sent about that Drake opportunity? Career fair or whatever they
Oh.
called it?
Yeah, no. You know, I have it on ISAC's webpage. I put it on the county attorney, Iowa County Attorney Association's webpage, and yeah.
What kind of wage did you put with it when you put it on there?
I didn't put any
Posting.
Okay.
because I didn't know what the board was doing. I guess I could have put this year's wage or what they're paying now, but I was afraid that wouldn't get any
Yeah, I think we want-
interest.
I think we want to explain that that's
Yeah.
until July increase, what it will be.
Yeah, I did not put a wage in there
Good.
at all.
And I'll likely look it up and find it, I would guess, but
Yeah.
record.
You know, it has to be negotiable with the board, so.
I think we're gonna severely limit our interest if we leave it at a 3.5 or 5% growth over this year. I think we're gonna be hurting ourselves in the long run, so while I don't like it, and I don't know if I have a final number, I think we've gotta be at 125 or above, at least.
I'd like to see it a little bit higher than that.
And we've identified the engineer's worth considerably above that. They both require professional licensure, and so I
I know my nephew's he's an attorney in Mankato, and which Minnesota's higher than Iowa. But doesn't think we're even gonna get anybody to look at it for this. And if we get somebody, I'd like to see somebody with a little bit of courtroom experience.
And then the Drake thing isn't probably the way to go.
I probably have to have it on the agenda next week to discuss it again, how we want to go further. If I haven't gotten any ads, you want me to keep advertising it, or, what you want me to do if we don't have any applicants.
I've said my 2 cents worth.
In the pocket sleeve up front, I printed off 2 different scenarios in the general supplemental fund for you. And then I printed out the fund balance as of today without any changes in anything. There, yeah, in your pocket there.
Two separate.
I have
Paper.
highlighted, the first one, since our overall valuation went down, we could go back up to 350 in the general basic. So that's our growth that we can go as. And then in the general supplement, or the rural basic, our levy's at the 2.82840. That's how much we can levy for. So currently we're at 85 cents in the general supplemental. So I upped that to $1. And our projected fund balance in general supplemental is $100,202.
Repeat that, sorry.
If I upped it to $1, and I have it highlighted in the sheet, then our ending fund balance in the general supplemental is $100,202, which is lower than it's been for a while. It kind of shows you all the ending fund balances, the general basic supplemental with that. We can go line by line. First one is general basic. Our projected ending fund balance for 25-26 is a little over $2 million. I mean, that's with that 750 I have in there, and taking out that 175 for this fiscal year. And then our general supplemental and the ambulance fund, if we did the 130, it would leave $20,000 in there. The hotel motel, that's where we take like our museums and stuff out of. That leaves about $1,700 in there. The Rescue American funds, that will be adjusted. Hopefully that's a 0 by next fiscal year. Real basic, I think that looks pretty healthy. The 227,000, I feel comfortable with that. That's kind of what we've had the last 3 years in that. And of course, the real basic levy is where we do the transfer from that into secondary roads, and we pay 2 deputies out of there, and the libraries come out of there, and the weed commissioner comes out of there, and the sanitarian, so we're good there. The recorder management, you can use that for several things. Public safety, I know that's going to be a lesser amount. It's just normally we have a 0 balance there. It just depends what we have a carryover as of June 30. So then of course you have the county incentive funds, and then secondary roads ending fund balance is there. The emergency medical staff, with Sandy making that change, we have roughly ending fund balance of $23,503 in that one. The sheriff's forfeiture, Yeah, I'm not for sure what they're doing with that one, but, I mean, if he spends out of there, it'd be about 3,000 in there. Then the rest of those few funds are just more or less the, TIF ones. That opioid money, I don't know what to do with that, you know, we roughly will have 47,000 in there. I don't know if we need to, I don't know what to do there. We need to contract with another counties or figure out what to do with that money. I should maybe have a conversation with Amy. The 35,000 fund,
Page 6.
yep, page 6. That opioid money fund, that's up from that lawsuit that we get on
That
page
can
6.
only be used for
Certain things,
education?
education and other services. And we have never spent anything out of there.
I wanna use that for the jail.
I doubt it will qualify, but I would
That would
like to.
help.
Have to ask. Don't-
Yeah,
Well, if they,
because they say prevention too. I said, I think you can argue that that prevents
Yeah,
use, but.
yeah.
I
Put them
don't.
behind bars, they're not gonna use it.
and of course, that 36,000, that's just the jail remodel fund where the bond proceeds go into, and the Senex TIF, we're done with that. The DAC, that's Bosma, that's the refund, and then the transfers and the green and yellow, same situation there. The next ones are more or less just TIF projects. Ending fund balance, but they're all in the red or black, so that's what we want.
Not advocating for this, but as you mentioned, TIF, is it worth considering with Ocheeden starting that new urban renewal and TIF process on the new bins and supporting the museum? Do we consider not contributing to the Tracy House because they have those tax dollars available to them? I'm not trying to shortchange them, but they're benefiting from tax dollars through that process, so is it reasonable to let that play out until we contribute again from,
I think
as
you
we
see a
have in
big
the past?
argument. I think you see a big argument.
We already have seen a big argument. They told me we've taken advantage of them, and here they're taking an opportunity to, that argument could be made back, and that's fine. It's a process available to them, but, okay.
I would probably agree with you, Jason, but something my wife always tells me is learn to pick your fights.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm in control of it.
And then land acquisition, that's Nick's fund, and then the REAP is Nick's as well. I was just more concerned about the general supplemental levy. Then the next sheet with the blue on it, that's when I up the general supplemental levy to $1.10. And then we would have $166,000 fund balance in the general supplemental fund. So I didn't know which way the board wanted me to proceed with that. Gain like $66,000 if we up to 10 cents. And you can think about it. I just gave you some scenarios to think about and can ponder on.
Before I let it die, go back to the top of page 8, and that's fine, we gotta pick our fights, I don't disagree. But, top of page 8, UR6 windmill TIF is valuation generated in the rural area, and about every line on the top there, 56,600 in 23-24, 59,184 in 24-25, and 8250 in this year, is rural valuation generated to the support of Ocheeden inside the community. So that's a lot of support there, that when they're now using the process where the county doesn't have valuation available to it to support more projects within their community, and they have that right, I'm not opposed to that. But
Because this year, the CFE, the Tyler Road, general basic will be paid back. So you can start collecting, I mean, we can't call in, I don't believe that valuation, or you can't start making more payments until 27, 28 fiscal year. Somewhere in there. Yeah, the first time we can pay is 27, 28, that we can start paying more on that Tyler Avenue loan.
728.
Yep. I have to check that, because we can, whatever we could pay off more, or if you have to be increments of 5,000, I don't have to look more of the details on that one. And I have not had a chance to call the state auditor's office about the health insurance fund, about that. That's what Dave told me I had to do. That's what he would do.
That raises another question. I would like to consider reassessing that agreement, because they get a rebate after it's paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Then we might want to consider just paying on schedule and letting some of the valuation move through to allow for tax relief to others, rather than paying off the loan fast and rebating it to an entity that in the beginning did not ask for anything other than the road.
So on this sheet, I have the 350, and then I have the 45 cents in for the emergency management, or the medical services. The debt service, I have to wait until we see what Maggie says. Unified law, it's $1.12. I guess you'll know more when you have your public safety meeting, what the rest of the members are deciding. And that's next week, right? Public safety is the 12th. You had mentioned something, Jerry, about public safety wanting
Yeah,
to
they
know.
would, I don't know, do we know where we're gonna be at with the money we're gonna need for the jail? They would like a proposal on what, if we borrow out of there, or, Jason, your plan of, remind me if I'm saying this right, paying the extra, staying at the same level, but paying the extra to go towards the jail, right? Did I say that right? If they all agree to that. Or if we borrow out of their reserves, a plan on how to pay it back. They would like a proposal.
Do we have a plan on how to pay it back? That's just it, yeah.
I asked Rochelle yesterday if we should discuss it. And I don't know, do we have any idea what we might need out of there?
We were at what, 100,000? Is that right? Over, or a million over roughly? Is that what? Were we roughly a million?
1.2. I
So-
thought it's 1.2.
So we have, 750 coming out of the general fund. So that's what, we have $500,000 left to try to come up with?
Well, we had 169 in this year's budget,
Yeah.
so then we're closer to, 300.
So we might not need anything,
So,
maybe.
I don't have that in front of me. Jason, you got that figure that they had for each town or each county? if they would go ahead and we'd fund it with last year's, but if they would pay the new assessment, how many dollars would that generate? 100? I'm just figuring in my head real quick. Approximately 150,000 if they went ahead and paid the new, but funded it with what they're paying currently. So that's another 150, if they would agree to that. Or are we taking too much out of county to pay that jail? Rural's getting stuck for the 101,000 and the cities are getting the balance, 50. Am I saying that right, Jason? I did some fast figuring, 38. Yeah, about 150,000. If they pay the new assessment, but it's funded by the old assessment, they take that extra assessment and stick it in the jail, but then the county's paying 101,000.
The rural is paying more.
The rural's paying
100, yeah,
101,000.
yeah.
Right, but if you look at every other county's participation, that's, everyone in the towns is contributing to the non-rural levy, because that's coming from general basic, so everyone in the towns is contributing towards the
Yeah, they are.
general basic, and they're contributing their own town's portion.
I don't have a problem. I'm just, are we gonna get pushback? You understand what we're talking about? I'm not sure I do, but. That's what you talked about here a couple weeks ago, didn't you, Jason? Doing it like that, like I'm saying?
Pretty much, yeah, I think so.
And that, I'm just trying to get to that $1.2 million is what
I guess, yeah. To me, if the reduction comes out of the general basic, everyone receives that relief. From what the county contributes towards public safety.
what do you guys think about the rest of that?
And that's really, sorry, it's not really relief. It's being used elsewhere. They're still paying it, so that's not right.
So if we want, so we'd be up to 900,000 then, if I'm doing the math in my head, right?
Darn.
Yeah, rough, or you mean to help pay for the jail?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we took that 169 that we have
So then
budgeted
we're
this
about
year,
300,000.
roughly.
If-
And,
That's if we don't take anything out of their reserve.
yeah, but we're,
I mean, they're
Yeah,
gonna
somewhat.
take it out because they can't fund
yeah,
it.
right. I mean, I honestly don't know if we have to borrow from anything. It just depends how everything comes in, and
They just asked for if we did do something, some kind of a proposal, and I said, well, I really don't know what we're gonna need, and if we do need some, how are we gonna pay it back?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be, and we're not thinking about taking any out of the, HSA?
yeah, the health insurance fund. I mean, that's an option too.
And I've heard both ways. Do we pay interest on that, or don't we?
That's
pay
what
interest on
Dave
it?
told me, but
We do.
that's what Dave told me, but he said I need to talk to the state auditor's office regarding that.
Didn't that, or was that guy that came through?
Ryan?
Yeah, didn't he say, talk like we wouldn't have to?
Yeah, but he also, he said that went to the general fund. Well, that's not true. It went to the general supplemental fund.
Okay.
So he wasn't talking apples to apples there. Because I asked Dave, I said, Monroe County is doing this, and he said, was silence. He goes, you need to talk to the state auditor on that. I was like, okay. He was shocked the week that they could do that.
So another
pay
way,
without paying it back.
Jason's not here, but then another way we could look at it is just pay what we paid last year and see how it rolls. Or what?
Yeah,
Because we'd have the extra 101,000 still in our pocket.
yeah, we're taking that out of the rural, so we
Yeah.
would just reduce the rural's levy, or the $1.12 would
I'm
just be
asking you,
reduced, yeah,
these guys want
answers.
an explanation from us.
What's the reserve now? Isn't that like over a million?
For public safety, yeah,
1.3 or
yeah.
something.
it
So
was-
there's still plenty of money that we can borrow from, even if we left it.
Yeah.
I'd leave it.
Okay. But if we have to pay for it, they want to know how we're going to pay them back.
Michelle?
Nice try, no. We had,
I guess we're just going to have to take no pay for 3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just asking because
Yeah.
that's what they asked me, and I don't know either
yeah, it just
what to
depends.
tell them.
Just depends how this goes,
Yeah.
he reduces it and hopefully we don't have any change orders to increase stuff. I know when I talked to John that he's ordering some stuff and he's gonna store it at the storage shed because it's cheaper to do it now than later, so they're ordering stuff and gonna store some of it at the storage shed. He's working on reductions, I have not.
I still don't. I think I was reading the news this morning, or I listened to the news, and some county in South Dakota is going to build a whole new courthouse
Yeah, they were tearing.
for $31,000 or $31 million or something. And I'm thinking, how come this is costing us $6? They're going to build a whole courthouse.
It just depends how things turn out,
It'd be nice to know a final number. Then we could actually sit down and figure it out.
So what do you want me to go to the public safety with?
I'd leave it where it's at.
And don't pay nothing? I mean, no increases, pay what we paid last year.
Yep.
And see what happens. Jason? He's already thinking no, I know he says what he's thinking. What do you think?
Because how much did we save
Wish I
on the
knew more
leaves?
about it.
How much did we save on the
I'm
leaves?
still pretty, just
101,000.
kind of thinking.
I wish I knew more about it.
I mean, I have it now that general basic pay is the same as what we have been paying, the increases coming out of the rural
Yeah.
public safety levy.
Listen to the line.
Well, you saw this. This is what we're currently paying this figure. And this is what the budget calls us to pay. We can stay here, and tell me if I'm doing this wrong, and if they don't meet budget, they just take it out of reserves, which is $1.3 million or something, which they could do. And Kevin is very thrifty. He don't hardly ever use his budget, to be honest. Or we can jump up here and pay each town and say we can pay this. What Jason's talking about is use this for budget numbers and use the extra money we're paying for the jail. Does that make sense to you at all? But and that'd be about $150,000 that we could put right into the jail fund. Or, you know what I mean? They could go there. Well, that would go into
It'll go into public safety's reserves, not,
the reserves anyway, so maybe, I don't know.
I don't know how we can tell them how much we're gonna need at this point. Do you?
No.
Or am I not thinking this correctly?
We
Until
don't have
we,
any idea.
See that
We've got-
sheet again?
We've got good guesses about it.
we might be able to take it out of the general, but we don't even need to take it out of any,
I don't know. Can I make a copy of this? I don't know where I set mine.
It's mine, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well, here,
I got one here someplace, but of course I can't find it because I'm not very good.
Maybe 5.
Yeah,
but, you know,
Well, they kind of got growly with me last month, so,
do you think
I
they'll
wanna
take,
be able to explain it to them.
do you think they'll take an increase?
No, I don't know. I don't know. There already was some pushback, a little bit of pushback before we got cut off. What do you think, Leroy? You sit there.
Yeah. No, I'd say just leave it the way it is.
my preference is, where's the ending fund balance sheet? You watch public safety.
I don't think I have public safety in there, because it's
have
not
that.
budgetary. I didn't print that one. Do you want me to print one for public safety? I can.
Yeah, go get one.
All right, I'll print one out.
Yeah, it's on top page 4, isn't it? That same one?
I wanna say, Jason, it's about 1.29 or close to 1.3 million. Yeah.
Yeah. My preference would be to identify a budgeted item within their budget. Because that 1.5 has grown, I think we've finally reached a point where it's slowed, or maybe not growing.
Actually, Leroy, tell me if I'm wrong, I think it grows by about what we pay for 2 deputies every year. It's been,
And
you
it's
know.
been growing every year.
So then my thing, why can't we inject a line in that budget that funds the jail project versus growing the ending fund balance?
Oh, yeah, that way, well,
Then we're not talking about, do we go up, do we not go up? We're just drawing funds from what's already being contributed and not growing the ending fund balance. That's my honest preference.
well, yeah,
I'm open to all of them, but
yeah, that wouldn't be a bad, but what,
and because
What do
then
you
it's
call
also
it?
at the same funding level that we were last year. We were already hearing that we don't want to increase our funding level. Okay, well, we're at a level that's increasing the ending fund or the reserves. Let's fund it the same amount and accomplish something with that rather than growing the ending fund.
so,
Thank you.
There's an error that's
Thank you.
proved out of balance. I don't know why that is. I'm not checking that out, but this is a rough estimate as to what the ending fund balance will
Okay.
be.
Yeah, we're starting to track where it's not really growing it anymore.
So we're projecting for 25, 26.
no,
I'll take the original,
his was, Rochelle's was.
so I have it. Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
So if we put a line item in there, Jason, what do you put in there for a figure? 100,000?
Whatever.
Or, I'm just asking,
Yeah.
I don't. And stay with last year's? Or stay with the new? Or I should say
This,
stay with
this
the new.
ending fund sheet, does that project the new rates or the last year's rates?
I believe this, I think this year's, I believe. Expenses may be off like $500 or so. CS1 45395, and I have one 453 417, so $500 maybe. And I think the revenues,
That's at last year's contribution levels.
Yep.
We're still showing a 30,000 increase. So to me, 150,000 wouldn't be out of line. 200, I mean, we're at 85% of the expenditures. I don't think 60 or 50 would be unreasonable.
Explain again what you want to.
Well, Jason, are you talking about the line item?
Yeah.
He wants to put a line item in the public safety budget. Tell me if I'm wrong, Jason. And just start paying, put money in that and then use that, call it a jail account. Or if that, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Is that my saying that right, Jason?
And the cities and everybody would pay more into that?
They already do.
Yeah, they already do.
Kevin's given us this sheet that last year he needed 1.395, 788 million. This year he's projecting $1,453,918. And if we fund at the same level, this ending fund balance sheet shows that we're actually going to grow the ending fund balance by 30,000
At last year's level.
at last year's funding level. So the towns are not having to cough up more. We're not having to cough up more.
Yeah.
The budget's being accomplished. We're continuing to carry, in my opinion, an ending fund balance that's excessive.
Yes.
So if we inject a line item to spend that down, it's at their current funding level, and it's moving us towards a lower ending fund balance. As we get to the jail funded and we pull that out, then they still have the capacity to address budgetary needs in future years based upon the current funding level.
Does that make sense, Rochelle?
So the towns would be helping pay for the jail?
They're gonna anyway.
Technically, they're not supposed to, are they? Isn't that a county thing to pay for?
Well, we keep talking about general fund dollars. We're levying against every person and every property in the county, in or outside of towns.
Yeah, but if you're putting that into their budget, what they have to pay for the unified law.
Well, they will pay the same as they're paying now.
Yeah.
There's just a line item in there. Tell me if I'm wrong, Jason. There's a line item in there that helps pay for the jail. I know what you're saying, that, yeah, indirectly, maybe the cities,
Yeah, and they're not supposed to.
but they're part of the,
But they want to accomplish public safety. You can't do that without a building.
and if we spend that $50 or $100,000, that starts bringing that reserve down, right, Jason?
And it's a line item that can be jerked out of there quickly and help their fund. My thought process on it is, we have unified law. The sheriff's office provides the service and the coverage. The county is obligated to maintain a jail. I may be wrong here, but I don't see where that means that under unified law, the jail has to be the only thing that towns would put their violators in. If we're offering a service to each community, I think it's possible that they will say, we'll provide the man hours. You provide a place for us to put them when we pick them up on infractions, if it's a city violation or.
And it isn't gonna cost them any more, because we're trying to get that reserve down. And we could spend it down 300,000 and we'd have our jail paid for. To me, that makes some sense, Jason, but I don't know, maybe the rest of you don't.
And I don't know that we'll get the towns on board, but I think it's worth the conversation, and it's not increasing what people are contributing already.
If they don't, we meet next Tuesday, don't we? So we can talk about this a little more, but, If they don't, if they're absolutely against that, then I'm just gonna say, let's go with what we paid last year and we'll see we don't know what we're gonna need.
Mhm. Yeah, we don't.
Any other advice to me? What to tell them?
That's the route I'd take.
Sounds good.
And if we go where we're at last year, then on the county's funding side, that would come out of the levy. The general basic would stay where it was as we had it anyway.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to explain that to them.
I shared that with you that day that I don't want to run afoul of the 28E, but
Yeah, I
we looked
got
at that day, that it
Yep.
said that to me, the language clearly said that jail and space needs is something that could be funded by Public
I read
Safety
that too.
Commission.
Didn't bring it in, I got it in.
We have to have unanimous agreement, so I'm not trying to pull anything on them, but I'll find
They
it.
would probably go for that more, don't you think, Jason, and you guys? Than pay what you're, pay the extra and we'll put that into an account. That's my opinion, you know what I'm saying? Pay the 800 and whatever that
I think
is,
you'd have a hard time swinging that.
And
and we're gonna use that for the jail versus putting a line at, I think, to me, don't you think, Leroy?
Yep,
I'm not
sounds
gonna
good.
speak for you, but,
Sounds good.
long. Sounds good, yeah. Got that all down? You're gonna be the spokesperson.
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
Oh, I still don't know if I go about like you, Jeff.
It's just hard to say if we can, if we need any of that money,
Yeah.
you know, until we get into the project. Where we're at.
We don't
And
need to
if-
keep, we don't need to keep growing that fund balance.
No.
That's my, and part of my point. And we basically, to me, maybe I'm wrong, we've done that. We've helped them grow their balance.
We have done it when we changed those 2 deputies.
Yep.
Yeah, that made a world of difference.
Yes, it did.
It did. And, you know, Kevin's very conservative and
He is.
And in some way, that proves my point that the county should be helping with the jail, because they were willing to pay for those deputies all along.
That's right.
So if we altered the approach to more accurately say, no, the county is taking care of the jail, now it's just saying that as we're addressing facility needs, we're asking each community to be a part of it. And it's a very small part in really,
Yeah.
and it's in an effort to accomplish the ending fund
But I know what
balance.
you're saying too, Mike. There might be some pushbacks that,
Oh, I'm sure there would be.
I'm not sure there will be.
I hope I'm
If we
wrong.
can just talk about it.
Yeah.
I get that there's pushback, I understand, and I'm not
I don't have
saying
anything
all the
else.
answers.
another thing, you know, in that general basic fund, $129,204 is restricted only for infrastructure at the jail. So we have that extra too, but I know Kevin said he was gonna use that for some equipment they might need. But that's included in that 249, or 2,049,000 projected for general basic. But,
Some of that equipment, I still don't see why 911 can't pick some of that up.
yeah, they might
I
have
really
to.
don't.
And I don't
What
know,
equipment are you thinking? Or what is he
well,
talking
was he talking about a scanner of some sort
Yeah,
for fingerprints or
fingerprint.
something?
about? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he talked
Yep,
about last
yep,
week
yep.
that he might need, and,
Yep.
I don't know if there's grants out there for
I
some of
agree
that
with you,
stuff or
Mike.
not.
That should be able to pick up some of that, shouldn't it?
I think it should, but Dan, he doesn't want to spend that money.
Well, the radios and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's there for. He has quite a hefty balance in that
Yes, he does.
E911 fund to help pay for some of that
Yeah.
equipment, or the transfer of some of it. And I don't know, like John said, if E911's going in that building, isn't there grants out there that we could look at too, or Kevin could look into, or
What I
where the
don't
new
understand
E911 person
Is
is?
911 won't pay for wages or rent on the place. You gotta have it. You gotta have someplace for them to be and somebody to run it. They should pay for part of it, in my opinion. But Dan says it can't.
Does that money get generated by like phone and cell phone bills at 911 surcharge?
Yeah, I don't know what else, how else he gets his money.
There's well, 911, I think that's the only way it gets his money. But the emergency management, there's a grant out
Yeah,
there
the
for,
EPG grant
yeah, what
that
is
he
it,
gets.
10,000 or something.
He gets part of his wages and benefits from that. I don't know
Yeah.
how much he gets from that, actually, but. And we might have to, the general supplemental levy, I don't know if that got changed to a full-time position, we're gonna have to give more to that.
They're gonna have a hard time convincing me that that's a full-time job. Real hard.
Have they looked at anybody yet, or?
I don't think so. I think there's a meeting coming up.
You have a meeting Thursday.
Is it this Thursday? I don't have it written down. They haven't
Appreciate
texted me.
that. That was a good idea.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's posted on the downstairs, February
Is it?
6th, yeah.
I did talk to Jared from O'Brien County.
Right? I
Yeah,
don't know what time for
He is
sure.
not opposed to
Oh.
doing a year or two sharing approach. He's eager. There's nothing that come across his plate that he's not willing to tackle, it seems, but, and I just shared my thoughts that if it just kind of bridges some transition time, even if what the state may change in the next year or two as to who funds it and who has final authority, and then less. So I asked them if they're interested on their end, if they want to submit some sort of 2080 they'd be comfortable with for us to review. We do have the ad out there. It may go that way anyway, but I guess that iron's in the fire. It may be a potential, but
He definitely would be a good person to train with.
Yeah.
and that would likely be anyway. The structure of the EMA, he said that they, in each region, have a kind of a mentor for every new hire. So he would likely be involved to some extent, even if we hire within. But do we want to go back to EMA? Is there any reason to budget for a full-time position potentially, or do we leave it
I
at
would-
part-time, or?
No, I asked Mike, but I would leave it
I do.
for now.
And I got a problem on our meeting the 24th. I can't be here till 10 o'clock. Just so you know.
And the 19th, Jerry, I might have to ask you to run those two meetings. The 8 o'clock one would be short and simple and easy, but did not cross my mind. And I've got an ISAC board meeting that day at 9, and I just as soon attend in person this time.
I'll
So-
try.
And we've got the conference board at 8:32, but that should be, both of them should be fairly short ones. I plan to call in,
We just have to have the budgets narrowed down by the latest,
I won't be here the 24th.
but, right.
by March 4th, because I have to have everything in the system by March 5th to get those flyers sent out. So, everything has to be kind of set in
Repeat that
stone.
date.
March 4th is the last day that you can really finalize the budgets. After that date, we can't increase them. We can decrease, but we can't increase.
And you said you want the 24th to be at 10.
Yeah. Well, I've got a Zoom meeting from 9 to 10, so it'll be right shortly after 10.
We'll plan on start time of 10 on the 24th. Guess that.
Got a question. When can I be gone?
Can I join ya?
I don't think that will look very good.
I'm ready for a vacation. I am so ready.
My house does have 2 extra bedrooms.
I'm so ready
Make it cheaper.
to be out of here.
Back to the attorney's office, a couple points on the assistant. Just some of the history. I wasn't on, but it seemed like for years it was pretty nice and easy that the engineer's office assistant and our office manager and the county attorney's assistant made the same salary and got the percentage raise that was granted to elected officials, and there were no waves. But not that many years ago, our engineer started us on the process of upping that office assistant salary, and I guess I just want to be consistent on really trying to address what the position should pay and not say, that should be enough, or that's where we're at, and that's my nature, that's what I want to foresee. I wish I were here for the years where that's just the way it was, they were matched and they didn't talk about the other offices, deputies and stuff like that, but
But our county fell behind quite a ways at that time. And I think that was a mistake.
looking at the ISAC average for an attorney's office assistant, the median, I think is more accurate, was 53,700. The average for the statewide was 58K, but a couple of the high ends quickly, I think, brought that up, and I don't think we would be anywhere near comparable to them. An engineer's office assistant, we went to 51.3 in the upcoming budget. And the first deputies that they talked about would be 58,000. So they're all in line with what that ISAC statewide averages and meetings are showing. Personally, as they talk about additional help in the office, I think that might be a wiser approach as to just paying one position more and hoping we don't lose that one position. The part-time victims assistant coordinator or witness coordinator and collections, I think, has some merit
I think it does.
on a bigger front with the state legislature wanting us to rely on property taxes less. If we could fund a new position and accomplish more in that office with funds that aren't coming from taxes, that may resonate at the state level or be a story worth at least telling that, hey, we're trying to meet the needs of our system in an additional way without it going to be a burden on the taxpayers. But I don't say that just to try to twist an arm in it, but I can see where that would be
A good selling.
something they would like to hear down there and would maybe make inroads in them trying to put their thumb on us quite as much as it seems like they want to. But thank you for hearing my rantings.
So leave the county attorney for right now.
I would hope next week, and we kind of be ready to address what the attorney and the assistant should look like. The 11th, if we'll all be here.
And if we're gonna think about hiring a part-timer,
And you guys are okay to add county attorney on there? Because I don't, our ad runs out the 12th. So I need guidance as to how you want me to proceed after that.
Yep, I think
Unless we
address
find somebody, unless
unless an application
Yep.
or multiple come in.
yeah, hopefully they're waiting to the last minute, but I have got no calls or anything on anything, so I don't know.
As to your sharing levy rates and supplementals, I hear you on the 100,000 under general supplemental being a little lower than you're comfortable with. I'm sorry I didn't talk to you more, but have you given thought to borrowing from the health insurance to go into supplemental? Or is
Yeah,
that not workable?
I
Or
don't know, that's a state auditor question.
because that would have been generated under supplemental as health insurance. So if that high balance were to be transferred into supplemental to offset needed levy rate increases or uncomfortably low ending fund balance, that might be I think it's a reasonable thing to consider and I wouldn't like to really go to the 110 if we can be at the 1 and possibly transfer that in. Plus, I'm pleased with how much we're identifying to be able to fund the jail from general fund. If that can be a short year or two process, then we're not doing some of that up and down on supplemental that we've talked about avoiding in other levies in past years.
I just hope nothing major happens, like we had to do a new heating and cooling, that's a big hit to the budget. Hopefully you don't have any of those major things happen.
But we're not really diminishing our ending fund balance greatly in the general fund either, so we would have more available to.
And hopefully the legislation doesn't do anything more to restrict us. Than what they already have.
Others' thoughts on that she talked about on the supplemental, general supplemental being at 1 or 1.1.
Dave was shocked that they could do that without paying it back, so.
Let's see how it looks at the one, and keep the one in the back of our mind.
If it was generated for something that's eligible under supplemental.
Yeah, but the trouble is, you got public safety contributing into that, you got secondary road contributing into that, you got EMA, you got the assessor all contributing into that fund. It's just not general supplemental. That's what he was shocked about, that they could do that because.
No, I'm saying the health balance.
Yeah.
That wasn't being contributed by those other
Oh, yes,
entities.
it was. Sure was. All those entities put, when we do payroll, all that goes into that 89,000 fund from all those different funds. So that's contributing to.
But
the
because
fund
of the
balance.
health, yeah, because of qualifying supplemental items within those departments.
Yeah, but secondary roads, that comes right out of Keith's budget. And the assessor comes out of her budget, and public safety, that comes out of his budget. And then those 2 deputies come out of rural basic. All those funds contribute into that fund, so it's just not general supplemental. That's why Dave was shocked that they could do that. I was hoping they could do it in general basic, that'd be great, but they did theirs in general and maybe we can, I don't know, I have to talk, hopefully I can explain that to the state auditor so they understand it and I'm talking clearly. That's why Dave thought we could borrow, but we would have to pay it back. And then he said, if you do have to pay it back, you got to figure out the interest, what interest rates we would have to.
What would they figure a decent interest rate would be?
I don't know what Becky's paying now, or what, that fund is, I don't know what they're receiving now for interest rates in that fund.
Interest rates are coming down, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit, I think. And then another thing we got to take into factor our ending fund balances. If we lower it too much, then we're not collecting that much interest either. It's double-edged sword there. So we haven't had $100,000 in interest for a long time, for many years. Many. We were lucky to get 25. So I'll bring back the general supplemental bank, bring that back down to $1 for right now and just see where we're at. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, let's look at it and maybe we'll have to go back, I don't know.
Okay. And I know we won't spend everything this year, we never have, but.
Trustee Harshbarger with ISAC did indicate that she thought moving expense or reimbursement for moving expenses for elected official is probably reasonable. It wouldn't need to be part of their base salary. And so for that idea having been thrown out there, it seems like there is a defense for that, or it would be reasonable. I know Dave would be a good one to ask on that too, to Noble, but
You mean like for an attorney?
if we have an attorney that,
Didn't we pay that for or?
I don't think we did I don't know that we have ever for an elected official. We did for the engineer's office.
We did for Nolan, maybe we didn't.
Boy,
I don't remember
recall
that,
It's been Barb here.
Since he was an elected official, I didn't think we could, or we didn't think we could, I guess, maybe, I don't know. We'd have to check that out.
But that might be worth, I don't know, is that something we want? I don't know if we need to budget for it. I'm hoping we have somebody by July 1. Then it'd be a matter of fitting in this year's budget, but is it something we mention if there are candidates that we're exploring that potential, or?
Because technically, if we hire them, they wouldn't be elected yet.
But they have to be a resident on day of appointment. Other offices have 30 days or something, don't they? But
Other offices have to be in the county resident for 60 days before they're
Prior
appointed,
to. I
except
was the
for
wrong way.
the county
Sorry.
attorney is the
Day
day
of
of.
appointment, you
They're a
can
little
say
bit
this.
different situation.
So they're kind of special at the,
Well, you have to have a degree to be, not everybody can be the county attorney, so. I'll just leave the county attorney for right now, and you guys can discuss it more next week and think about it and ponder on it. And
When does the ad,
the ad's done next, they'll be published, the 12th is the last, it'll be published in the local papers. They'll be in the ISAC's website and the county attorney's till I take it off. And I didn't know if you wanted, I didn't do the Des Moines Register or the Sioux City Journal, but that's very expensive to do that, but I would hope if they're a county attorney, they would look on those, Iowa Attorney Association's webpage or ISAC, they would look at those, but
You want me to do that, run it again?
I don't know, I need direction. What do you want me to do?
but you can agree.
And we can't, yeah. Because there's another publication that I have to publish 4 to 20 days before we make the appointment, but until we have somebody, I'm not gonna run it until I know when we're gonna make the appointment, so. Trying to save costs that way as well.
you said we were at 0.85 on supplemental?
I believe so.
Could you just generate that one to see what it won? Because that shows one for this year.
Currently, what we're at is 85 cents.
That was last year's.
Yeah,
But did you just run that to see what it would look like?
Yeah,
I remember doing
Yeah, I
that.
think we reduced it to
And
85
we did
cents
stay
because
at
we did that
85,
transfer.
okay.
I believe, I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure we did.
Okay, thank you. Anything further, or want to get out of here before I keep dragging this on?
That's coming. John's gonna be here next week or sometime this month to do a pre-construction meeting, yep. He talked to me yesterday about that. And he talked to me that might have to talk to Lori about, I gotta do those exemption forms, for the state, yeah. I have to do all those, so.
All right. Anything other business reports? Interested in adjournment? Motion from Schulte to adjourn.
Second.
Support from DeBoer. All those in favor of adjournment, signify with aye.
uh,
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.